The millionaire ruthlessly fires the female beggar who ate his food in public. The city was buzzing, cameras flashing like lightning in a storm. Something wild had just blown up downtown. A millionaire, known for skyscraper deals and gleaming cars, thrown into a scandal that no one saw coming. The headline screamed, "The millionaire ruthlessly fires the female beggar who ate his food in public." But the truth? It was far stranger. Alex Morgan, once the king of his glittering empire, sat in his penthouse with the city sprawling beneath him like a glittering chessboard. Yet his eyes, hollow and distant, told a different story. A man trapped in a body that no longer obeyed. Since that cruel accident, Alex's life had shattered. No more running boardrooms, no more champagne toasts, just four walls and the endless night of silence. But that morning, everything shifted. At the corner cafe, a small spot where rich and poor unknowingly brushed shoulders, he met Emma. She wasn't just a waitress with tired eyes, but a worn smile that somehow cut through his cold loneliness. Emma's hands, worn but steady, helped him eat without shame, right there in front of the stares and whispers of strangers. People gasped. How could a man of Alex's stature accept help so openly? Rumors swirled like a wildfire, twisting the encounter into something fiery and mysterious. The cafe's buzz turned into a storm of gossip. "Did you see that? The billionaire feeding some homeless woman?" someone hissed. "He must be losing his mind." But beneath it all, an undeniable spark ignited. Something fragile and bright flickered in Alex's chest. For the first time since the accident, hope crept in. Emma talked about a project, New Horizons, a bold idea to lift those forgotten by the system, to build bridges where walls had grown. Alex felt drawn in, pulled from the shadows by her fierce kindness and stubborn hope. But nothing good comes easy. Enter Ryan, Emma's ex-colleague, a man with a venomous tongue and a grudge as deep as the city's darkest alleyways. He started twisting truths into lies, poison spreading through their budding project like smoke in a crowded room. "Fraud," murmured some. "Scam," whispered others. The community's mood flipped overnight. Once hopeful faces hardened. Doubt fed the fire, threatening to burn everything down. Alex's heart tightened. The loneliness threatened to swallow him whole again. But Emma? She stood tall, risking it all. She gave a raw, no-holds-barred interview, exposing truths no one wanted to hear, daring the world to judge her on more than rumors. But as the story seemed ready to turn, a shadow slid between them, a secret from Alex's past, buried deep and dangerous, surfaced without warning. A secret that could pull the rug from under their dreams and destroy the fragile trust they'd built. Was their hope just a flicker, doomed to fade? Or could it blaze through the darkness, lighting a path neither expected? The city watched. The whispers grew louder. And Alex? He stared out his window once more, torn between the past that haunted him and the future that might still be his to claim. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube has removed their subscriptions without warning. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss out on any exclusive content coming your way. And while you're there, leave that powerful like that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know all the amazing people who are part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Alex's gaze drifted back to the horizon, the skyline glimmering like a beacon of hope amid shadows. Emma's words echoed in his mind, potent and alive. New horizons. He clung to the idea of building bridges, their shared dream tinged with a fierce urgency. But beneath the city's buzz, a storm brewed. In the distance, a sharp, metallic clang jolted him from his thoughts. He turned, puzzled, to see a crowd gathering in the plaza below. Voices rising like a chorus, a sound of rising tension. Curiosity tugged at him. He pushed the window open. "This is insane," he heard someone shout, a mix of disbelief and outrage. "What's happening?" he murmured, his heart racing as he leaned over the ledge to gain a better view. A man, disheveled and wild-eyed, gripped a megaphone, raving about corruption and deceit. "You've all been blind. The truth must come out." Alex squinted, his insides twisting uneasily. The man's face, smeared with dirt, demanded attention. He accused Emma directly. "She's no saint. She's been playing you all." The crowd gasped collectively, shock rippling through the onlookers. "What? No!" Alex's heart dropped. Could this really be happening? He stumbled backward, almost losing his footing. The man continued. "Emma's been pocketing funds for her so-called project." It's a con, folks. A beautiful lie. The roar of disbelief hit Alex like a punch. How could this happen? How could anyone turn against Emma? The memory of her laughter, her dreams, they crashed around him. But doubt crept in, uninvited and heavy. In the tumult, Alex caught a glimpse of Emma, standing there, pale as a ghost, her hands trembling. She looked up, eyes wide and desperate. The world turned silent in that moment, as if time had paused just for them. "What is he talking about?" He called down, fear peeling back layers of his heart. Emma's lips quivered. "Alex, Before she could finish, Ryan emerged from the crowd, smug and smirking. "You should listen. I told you people, didn't I? She's been running a scam." The breath caught in Alex's throat. It was as if the ground shifted beneath his feet. Suspicion curled tight in his chest. How well did he really know her? Was she truly trying to uplift those forgotten? Or had she woven a web of deceit right under his nose? Alex bolted down the stairs, impulses propelling him faster than logic. The crowd parted as he pushed through, voices blending into a chaotic hum. Each step felt heavier. He had to confront her. But then, from the crowd, a woman stepped forward. Her voice was low but piercing. "You don't know what you're dealing with. Emma's trying to save lives. Then why is this man claiming she's stealing?" Another shouted. The tide turned, waves of judgment crashing against him like a storm. Alex reached Emma, breathless. "Tell me it's not true." She looked at him, eyes filled with disbelief and fear. "It's not. I would never." But the certainty in her voice wavered, leaving a chasm of doubt. Suddenly, a blinding light flickered in the corner of Alex's eye. He turned. An unmarked van sped into the plaza, screeching to a halt. The door swung open. A figure emerged, cloaked in darkness, holding up a familiar file, a file he had thought lost forever. "Alex Morgan," the figure bellowed, voice cutting through the tension like glass. "You have to see this." The file slipped from their grasp, papers scattering like autumn leaves caught in a windstorm. Alex's heart raced as he crouched, desperate to scoop up the pages. The truth was in there, something buried beneath layers of secrets. What had he missed? What lied hidden in the shadows? And just like that, the city watched. Hope flickered, doubt grew, and Alex's heart thudded painfully in his chest as he realized the past was surfacing, threatening to implode everything he thought he knew. Was Emma a victim, or was there a darker game at play? He needed answers, and fast. The file lay scattered at Alex's feet, papers catching the light, exposing fragments that marked the beginning of a dark revelation. He picked up a sheet, hands shaking as he read the words, "Fund misappropriation." Heart pounding, he scanned the disarray of documents, details painted in sharp strokes of betrayal, names echoing back to him like lost ghosts. Emma, What is this? His voice was barely a whisper, panic crawling up his throat. The world around them blurred into confusion as people shifted uneasily, bristling with accusations and doubt, eyes darting between him and Emma. "What do you mean?" she replied, fear etched deep in her voice. "I don't know what's in there. I didn't." "But it's talking about the project," Alex interrupted, disbelief tightening like a vice around his chest. "It mentions funds missing. Connections to, you are connected to Ryan's group. You lied to me." The crowd absorbed his fury, shifting like restless waves, unsure of their direction. Emma's face fell, a shadow of disbelief and anger washing over her features. "That's not what it looks like, Alex. You have to believe me. I was trying to help people." But doubt brewed like a storm. "Help?" A harsh voice cut through the air. Someone from the crowd. "Or ruin lives." Alex's heart twisted painfully. Memories rushed back. Her laughter, her passion, but now they felt tainted with betrayal. Was she truly sincere, or was she nesting in deceit? Then, like thunder in a clear sky, came the twist. From the shadows emerged a woman, dressed elegantly, yet her presence sent chills among the onlookers. She stepped forward, the crowd parting with startled gasps. A familiar face from his past. "Alex," she called, eyes piercing, yet filled with mock pity. "You thought you could keep it hidden? This is a serious mess." "Who are you?" someone shouted, confused. But Alex knew. Claire, his former partner, the one who had walked out amid their business collapse. "They're accusing Emma of fraud, and she isn't even the worst here." Claire laughed, an edge of cruelty tinged in her tone. "You're all so quick to believe the worst, but it's not Emma you should be focused on." "What do you mean?" Alex pivoted, confusion storming within him. Claire stepped closer, her eyes narrowing into sharp slits. "The project you both are working on, it's backed by someone far worse than Ryan. Someone who's been using Emma as a pawn to get to you." "What? That's insane!" Alex shouted back, desperation clawing at his insides. "Is it?" she challenged, her smile stretching wider. "You think this is about charity? It's a play, all of it. Emma's in deeper than you think." The crowd gasped, whispers swirling like a hurricane. "She's lying," Emma protested, voice trembling. Yet the uncertainty cast a shadow over her resolve. "No." Alex couldn't breathe. The air thickened, relationships teetering on the edge of chaos. The truth was slipping away, dissolving in the confusion surrounding them. Was Emma just a victim, or something darker? A flash of anger ignited inside him. "You're just trying to mess with us, Claire. You're the one who wrecked everything before. Or maybe, just maybe, I'm trying to save you from getting played again. You hate the truth, don't you?" At that moment, the lights flickered overhead, plunging them into darkness for a split second. When they returned, everything changed. The crowd had shifted, some backing away, others stepping forward in heated debate. Alex stood frozen, heart racing, caught between the echoing words and the fear of unraveling everything he believed. What was reality now? Could he trust Emma? Or was she still just a piece amid a game far larger than he could comprehend? And as the doubt settled deep in his gut, a loud crash rang out. A window shattered behind them, screams puncturing the chaos. And in an instant, the crowd scattered like ants. Something was off. This was only the beginning. Alex gripped the scattered papers tightly, his mind a whirlwind, his heart heavy. As the chaos intensified around them, he took a breath that felt like fire and prepared himself for what came next. The truth was ready to unravel. But who would be standing when the dust settled? The sound of shattering glass still echoed in Alex's ears. Panic rippled like thunder through the crowd, and faces turned to masks of screaming horror as people scrambled in every direction. Alex felt a deep-seated instinct to protect Emma, to shield her from whatever storm was brewing. But chaos had erupted. Time slowed, The pulse of reality twisted as fear coursed through him. "Emma!" he shouted, pushing through the throng of bodies mingled with confusion. His heart raced as he looked for her, desperate to reach where she stood, frozen in shock. She was pale, terrified eyes darting between the chaos around them and the fierce accusations hanging heavy in the air. But before he could reach her, another crash thundered. A motorbike roared through the plaza, splintering the crowd with its sudden, violent entry. It skidded to a halt just a few feet from Alex, a rider clad in black leather, face obscured by a helmet. The roar of the engine drowned out the world, and Alex's instincts screamed. A storm had arrived. "Alex Morgan!" the figure. And with a swift motion, they removed the helmet, revealing a face he never expected to see. "Claire?" It tumbled out of his mouth, disbelief crashing over him like a wave. "Yes, I'm here." Claire's voice held an urgency that sliced through the noise. "And it's not just Emma they want to destroy. There's more at stake." "What are you talking about?" Alex's chest tightened, a lump forming in his throat. "Emma isn't just a victim, she's caught in a web way bigger than you think. The project? It's a ruse. Her past, it's tied to someone dangerous, someone coming for you both." "What are you saying? I don't understand." Before Claire could respond, the rider pointed towards the distant street, where a black SUV approached with blaring sirens, drawing the attention of the crowd. The atmosphere shifted. A different kind of fear took hold. "They're here!" she yelled, urgency flooding her voice. Suddenly, there was a loud pop, and the air thickened with something horrible. The crowd gasped and froze as a figure stepped out of the SUV. A man in a tailored suit, his face obscured by the rising smoke from a small explosion behind him. "It's time," the suited man boomed, voice echoing with authority. He took a step forward. "Where's Emma?" The tension held everyone captive, a gathering storm making hearts race. From the shadows, Emma moved, trembling but determined. "I won't let you use me anymore," she shouted, sparking silence. But it wasn't just a rebellion. The declaration unraveled secrets buried deep. "You think you know me?" she continued, voice shaking but fierce. "You think I'm the victim? I have my own plans." "What?" "No." Alex felt the ground beneath him crack. His heart raced in fear and betrayal. You're not serious." A smirk played on Emma's lips, and in that moment it felt like the world spun off its axis. "I'm the one who brought you into this," she spat, voice laced with anger and something darker. "This was never just charity. It was all planned." Stunned silence blanketed them, shock coursing through the crowd as Alex's heart plummeted. "You're lying." But the fire in Emma's eyes felt real. She stepped forward, causing the crowd to retreat. "No, Alex, I'm breaking free. You can't see it, but you've been a pawn in my game. And now the real players are here." A heart-stopping silence settled over the plaza, the accusations hanging like thick smoke. Who was she really? The implications transformed everything Alex thought he knew. Despair clenched around him like a vice. In an instant, the world shifted, loyalties flipped, and just as the realization hit, the suited man chuckled darkly, eyes sparking with triumph. "You see, Alex? You're in over your head." The crowd surged backward, gasps filling the air as alliances crumbled. Emma's face twisted, exposing layers of hidden deceit. "You've no idea what's coming next." And in that moment, Alex stood alone amid the raging tide of confusion, heart racing, reality unraveling at the seams. What had he failed to see? The city held its breath, relationships shattered, trust faded. What had started as a simple meeting turned into a storm, and in the eye of it all, the question loomed. Who could he still believe? As the chaos engulfed them, time twisted and stretched. Alex stood there, heart thrumming in a haunting rhythm, every nerve ending electrified. Emma's shocking confession ricocheted in his mind like a bullet, a piercing reminder of betrayal. But before he could process the weight of her words, Claire stepped closer to him, eyes wide with urgency. "Alex, listen," she urged, but the noise around them blurred together, a cacophony of doubt and anger. All Alex could do was glance back at Emma, who stood unwavering, fire sparking in her gaze. He felt torn apart, emotions wrestling inside him. But then a tremor shot through the crowd. A crack, like a thunderous echo, resonated. Alex's head whipped around just in time to see a massive figure emerge from the SUV, towering and menacing. His presence swallowed light. The crowd held its breath, silence shrouding them tighter than a cold fog. The man was cloaked in darkness, eyes locked onto Alex, a chilling smirk stretching across his face. "You're finally here," he declared, voice deep and commanding, as if he owned the very ground they stood on. "Who are you?" Alex managed to say, words barely escaping his trembling lips. He stepped forward, revealing a glint of silver tucked at his waist. "I'm the one who put this whole circus together." The crowd gasped, eyes darting, sensing the shift in power. "And you, Alex, are my chosen star." It was like a punch to the gut. Alex's thoughts spiraled. "What do you mean?" "Emma? Oh, she doesn't even know the half of it," the man sneered, eyes flickering to her. "She's not a pawn. She's been playing a role in this game just like you." Every heartbeat echoed with disbelief. "No!" Alex felt the world tilt. "You can't be serious." But before any clarity could break through, an explosion of fireworks lit the sky behind the man, brilliant and distracting. Gasps rippled through the crowd, painting their faces in radiant colors, blinding for a moment. When they cleared, panic reignited. "Now!" he shouted, pointing at Alex with a crooked finger. "Get Emma! She's the key!" "Stop!" Alex cried, barreling toward the man, but it felt like running through syrup. The words didn't compute. "You're lying." But the man just laughed, a dark, victorious sound. As confusion and fear swelled in the plaza, Emma's face twisted with disbelief. "What do you mean by that?" she shouted, taking a step back, the crowd closing in on her, tension thickening the air. Before anyone could react, another spark surged through the crowd. A figure broke from the shadows, a woman, fierce and wild, rushing toward them. The noise shifted, heads turning, but it wasn't just anyone. It was the previous waitress from the cafe, the one Emma had started with. "Emma!" she yelled, breathing heavily, her voice filled with urgency. "You have to listen. It's bigger than we thought." "What are you talking about?" Emma shouted, panic surfacing in her eyes. Then came the twist that shattered their world. "You're not who you think you are. You were adopted. Your real family. They have a past that connects to this man." Everything fractured in an instant. Time froze. Conversations reached a deafening silence. Alex watched Emma's face blanched in shock, confusion turning to rage. "You're lying," Emma yelled, but the shadows of doubt crept into her eyes, tiny roots of fear sinking in. The man laughed again. "Oh, it's true. They wanted you to know when the time was right, but I took you here first." And just like that, relationships began to fracture. All the pieces Alex thought he understood crumbled like brittle glass. "What does this mean?" he stammered, searching Emma's eyes for answers, but found nothing but an abyss of uncertainty. The crowd began to murmur. Eyes shifted, whispers spiraled. Trust collapsed like a house of cards. As the realities surged around them, fear pulsed through Alex's veins. Emma's truth was unmasked, and it wasn't the only secret unraveling. The city held its breath, and with it, fate hovered uncertainly, waiting for a single spark to ignite everything anew. What was real now? What lay hidden behind the faces they thought they knew? The crowd held its breath, a collective gasp echoing like a thunderclap. Alex's heart pounded as Emma's shocking revelation spilled into the air. Doubt twisted inside him like a knife. He needed answers. But the dark figure stepped closer, eyes fixed on Alexandra with unyielding intent. "Emma," he called, desperation lacing his voice. "Is what he's saying true?" She paused, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her face, but anger burned anew. "No, I won't let you twist this." But before she could finish, a distant rumble punctured the tension. An explosion roared from the far end of the plaza, a fiery burst erupting against the backdrop of the sunny sky, sending debris flying. Screams filling their ears. Panic rippled through the crowd, sending body after body tumbling in chaos. Alex shielded his eyes against the brilliant blaze while fear gripped his chest. "What's happening?" He glanced around, searching for Emma. She was gone, swallowed by the chaos. "Emma!" I yelled, battling through the sea of frantic faces. Then he spotted her, standing amidst the chaos, staring wide-eyed at the chaos unfolding. The suited man grinned, reveling in the panic he had orchestrated. But then, something flickered in his peripheral vision. A figure emerged from the smoke, someone hurtling into the fray like a phantom. "Alex!" The voice sounded familiar. It was Ryan. Warped and wild-eyed, he lunged forward, grabbing Alex by the collar. "They know! They all know!" "What are you talking about?" Alex gasped, fighting to shake off the confusion. "The files. They're not just about Emma. It connects to you too." A searing twist of horror clutched at Alex's gut. "Me?" "Yes, your past. All of it. You're not just the businessman they targeted." Ryan's words spilled out in rushed fragments. "You're part of this. The money, the connections, everything." The truth crashed over Alex in waves. It echoed against the backdrop of chaos. "What are you saying?" "You're lying to save your own skin." Ryan stepped back, fear crackling in the air. "No, you need to listen." But the moment shattered when another explosion shook the ground. This time, it sent Alex sprawling to the ground. Smoke billowed, obscuring his vision. The crowd erupted into screams, shoving and pushing, panic rising like floodwater. "Get down!" a voice screamed from somewhere nearby. But Alex couldn't move. His mind was frozen. And then, just as everything began to blur into chaos, he felt a hand on his shoulder. "Alex, look!" He turned to see Emma, but this time there was something different about her. Her face was pale, eyes wide, but there was a fierce determination blooming within her. "I have to tell you, you weren't just a pawn in this game. You're part of the bigger picture." The words wrapped around Alex like a sudden chill. "What do you mean?" Emma pressed forward, breathing heavily. "It's not just me or Ryan. It's all connected. They're after us because we hold the key to something bigger, something threatening hidden deeper than we ever realized." Suddenly, the suited man broke through the crowd, his gaze fixed on the two of them. "Enough. This has gone far enough." In a swift motion, he pointed a finger at Emma. "You've been a traitor from the start." "No," Emma shouted back, voice filled with fire. "You don't know what you're dealing with. We won't be your puppets anymore." With that, everything changed in an instant. A dizzying realization crashed over Alex as he caught a fleeting glimpse of Emma's expression. The confusion, the bravado, all of it hinted at something terrible lurking beneath the surface. And in that heartbeat, as the crowd recoiled, a terrible truth dawned. What if this was all part of some grand scheme playing out before them? Was Emma truly a puppet, or had she been manipulating them all along? A loud crash broke the tension, forcing Alex back to reality. The crowd screamed as the walls of the plaza trembled amid another rumbling explosion. The sky flickered dark, and for the first time, Alex was unsure of who to believe. Everything hung in a fragile balance, secrets spilling into the light. What was happening? What lay obscured behind those eyes he thought he knew? And as darkness enveloped the scene, a chilling thought struck Alex. What if they were all just players in a game far beyond their grasp? The crowd pressed in, hearts pounding like drums, and Alex stood poised between the sea of confusion. Emma's words tore through him, a lethal storm of disbelief and anger swirling in his belly. His mind raced, trying to grasp the enormity of what she had just said. And who was this ominous man seeking to control their fate? "Emma, what are you saying?" His voice strained, echoing above the chaos. But before she could respond, another explosion erupted close by, showering them in a cascade of sparks. Screams tore through the crowd, panic roiling as bodies surged like waves. Alex's instincts kicked in. He needed to find Emma, shield her from whatever darkness loomed. "Emma!" he bellowed, fighting against the throng, his heart racing faster than he thought possible. Each footstep felt heavier, each heartbeat louder in his ears. The smoke curled around him, suffocating and thick. He had to see her. Then, in a flash, he caught sight of her, but she wasn't alone. Ryan was beside her, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. The fear etched on Emma's features seized his breath, her eyes wide, glistening with a confusion that mirrored his own. "Alex!" she shouted, panic straining her voice. "You don't understand. We have to go." But before he could respond, her eyes locked onto something behind him. He turned, muscles tightening as he prepared for the worst. But nothing could prepare him for the spectacle that unfolded. The suited man stepped forward again, but this time he held up a remote, a simple black rectangle. The air froze, tension swirling thick and palpable. With the press of a button, a shocking reality quaked through the ground beneath them. A hidden mechanism hissed, and up rose a massive screen above the plaza, flickering to life with a vivid color. The crowd gasped collectively. Images flashed across the screen. Photos of Alex, Emma, Ryan, all intertwined with clips of their pasts and hidden connections. The truth of their lives blaring for all to see. Every deal, every secret moment, laid bare for public consumption. The whispers transformed into a roar, a rumble that churned in the pit of Alex's stomach. "Look," the man yelled. "These are the true players. They think they're hidden in shadows, but beneath every charity, every heartbreak, lays betrayal." Alex's heart sank. No, this can't be happening. He felt raw, exposed. The walls were closing in, the crowd tightening around him like a vice. Eyes were casting blame, fingers pointing, accusations flying through the air. "Emma, please." But the words were snatched from his lips as another series of images sprang to life. They were dynamic, vivid. Then, a silhouette, a woman he recognized, standing among the emerging chaos. Claire. Her eyes glinted with glee, but there was something deeper, something dark lurking beneath that twisted smile. She stepped forward, voice smooth and confident, drawing the crowd's attention like a magnet. "Didn't you all want to know the truth?" she announced as the screen shifted again. "This is just the beginning, the real reason behind New Horizons, and more importantly, who Emma truly is." Alex felt the ground beneath him tremble. Emma's face contorted in disbelief, voice cracking as she pushed back. "This isn't me. Stop." But the screen morphed again. A video clip flickered to life, showing Emma in a meeting, but not with Alex or Ryan, with a group of stark figures known to all in the city, leaders of an underworld that thrived in the shadows. The crowd gasped, confusion turning into shock. Alex's throat tightened as everything shifted. Truth unraveled like thread pulled from a sweater. "No, it can't be," he whispered, hands trembling. And then it hit him. The darkness seeped into his heart as Claire smiled wider, her voice a venomous whisper through the din. "You see, Alex, she was never just a charity case. She's been playing all of you from the start." The crowd rumbled, eyes darting between the dizzying revelations, a storm brewing beneath their breaths. Yet one flicker of defiance ignited in Emma's chest. She straightened, eyes fierce. "I may have started this way, but I'm here now." "What?" His heart thudded painfully against the jagged edges of betrayal. "What's happening? Who are you really?" And in that moment, as the chaos unraveled, the screen went black. Silence swallowed the crowd whole. "Let's see how far you'll go to find the truth," Claire's voice echoed, wrapping around Alex like a shroud of dread. Everything Alex thought he knew twisted at its core, and the city teetered on the edge of revelation. Was this just the beginning? What had they all stumbled into? The screen went dark, and in that silence, hearts raced. Alex felt the weight of every gaze pressing down on him. His mind spun with disbelief, questions swirling like a hurricane. Emma, his Emma, was tangled in lies. But just as doubt threatened to swallow him whole, a loud crack split the air like a gunshot. The ground shook violently, tossing people to the pavement. Alex stumbled, struggling to regain his balance as screams erupted around him. "What now?" he gasped, fear gripping his heart. The suited man, smug and menacing, looked unfazed. "I warned you," he shouted over the chaos. "You've unleashed something you can't control." A blinding flash lit the plaza, and a loud shattering pop echoed, vibrating through the crowd. It was as if the world had exploded into fragments. More screams filled the night, panicked voices rising, drowning familiar faces. Smoke slipped through the air, thick and choking, making it hard to see. "Eva!" Alex cried out, the desperation slicing through him. But the panic had transformed the once crammed plaza into a battlefield. People scrambled, bodies colliding, emotions fraying. Heart pounding in his ears, he squeezed through the chaos, eyes peeled for her, and then the ultimate shock hit. A figure emerged from the fog of confusion. A woman, tall, strong. A familiar face, but so out of place. "Claire, Claire, what are you doing here?" Alex managed between labored breaths, disbelief scrambling his thoughts. "Listen to me," she shouted, voice fierce, cutting through the panic. "Everything you think you know, it's about to change." But before he could respond, the suited man turned sharply toward Claire, eyes blazing with rage. I should have known you'd be involved." "Shut up," Claire shot back, stepping forward, defiant. "You think you can control this?" And in that moment, the air shifted. The ground trembled again, and just as Alex found his footing, he saw something he never expected. A small metallic drone swooping low among the crowd. Its blinking light pulsed wildly, and an ominous hum grew louder. "Move!" Claire yelled, grabbing Alex's arm. But it was too late. The drone emitted a high-pitched beep, and then, boom! A flash enveloped the plaza in glaring brightness. It wasn't an explosion. It was a blinding flash of light, a wave of energy unlike anything they had ever seen. When the brightness dimmed, the crowd stood frozen, mouths agape, wide-eyed. All eyes turned to one place. The suited man lay sprawled on the ground, twitching, his face twisted in pain, and then, shockingly, he stopped. Silence drained the air. Then chaos erupted. But it wasn't just the chaos they had witnessed. There was something else. Alex's mind raced as he noticed a flicker of movement among the gathered crowd. Eyes darted. Whispers turned into sharp gasps. There, just behind the fallen figure, lay something. A small glowing device pulsed rhythmically, sending out waves of energy. And then, the last shocking twist. The crowd's whispers grew louder, strange murmurs floating through the air, wrapping around Alex like chains. "Is that a device?" someone whispered. Suddenly, Claire turned to Alex, eyes blazing with urgency. "We have to act fast. If that thing activates, it will expose everything." We can't let that happen. The pieces fit together in Alex's mind with sickening clarity. "What do you know, Claire? What is this?" "More than you think. If it explodes, it's not just physical destruction. It'll release secrets on everyone involved. Who they really are," she replied, her voice low but laced with danger. And just like that, the world shifted again. As the crowd shifted uneasily, Alex realized the truth cut deeper than he could handle. He felt the ground beneath him shake with a revelation. Everything they thought was solid, their hopes, their connections, teetered on the edge of chaos. The silence that followed was thick with questions. Who else was hidden among them? What was the truth really worth? And as Clara grabbed his hand to drag him toward the chaos, Alex knew their fate was about to change, and there was no turning back. The city held its breath. What lay ahead? Secrets waited, and the stakes were higher than they could ever imagine. The crowd stood frozen, confusion wrapping around them like a shroud. The glowing device pulsed ominously, casting eerie shadows on the faces of everyone present. Claire's grip tightened on Alex's arm as she pulled him back, urgency flashing in her eyes. "We can't let it activate," she shouted, her voice breaking through the haze of panic that enveloped them. But even as she spoke, the tension grew thicker, heavier, unraveling like a thread just pulled from a worn-out sweater. The suited man lay still, his breathing shallow and jagged, as the lights from the device illuminated the panic around them. "Get away from there!" Someone yelled, but Alex's instincts kicked in. He had to protect Emma, to shield her from whatever storm was brewing. But just then, a deafening sound shattered the chaos. A scream louder than the explosions, cutting through the air like glass. "No!" Emma's voice pierced the crowd, raw and filled with anguish. Alex's heart raced. "Emma!" he called, his voice hoarse as he pushed through the scattering bodies. He needed to find her. Fear clawed at him, tight and unrelenting. And then it hit him. He spotted Emma struggling against the crowd, her face a mask of terror. But right beside her, a man emerged from the depths of the chaos. His features were hidden under a heavy hood, but there was something familiar, an echo of someone from Alex's past, a ghost he thought he had buried. "Stop!" the hooded figure boomed, a harsh command that sliced through the murmuring crowd. "You don't understand what's about to happen." But Emma was shaking her head, the anger and fear making her eyes blaze. "Let go of me. I won't be part of this." "All of this is your fault," the figure shot back, voice rising, filled with venom. And with that, he reached into his pocket, pulling out something that caught the light, a small metallic object, glinting dangerously. "No, don't!" Claire shouted, but it was too late. The man hurled the object at the glowing device, and for a brief moment, time seemed to pause. A blinding flash enveloped the entire plaza, and Alex felt the world shift beneath him. It was as if reality itself had cracked open. All sounds, the shouts, the cries, the chaos, vanished, replaced by a deafening silence. And then the air exploded with sound. A wave of energy burst forth, sweeping through the crowd, sending people sprawling to the ground. Alex felt it tear through him, a force so palpable that it knocked the breath from his lungs. In that instant, his vision blurred, the world spinning around him. When he managed to reopen his eyes, everything had changed. The plaza was transformed, every face turned toward one person lying on the ground. The mystery figure lay exposed, now revealed as someone Alex never thought he would see again. It was his father. The shock sent a rush of cold through his veins. "Dad!" The word barely coalesced in his throat, a tentative whisper against the rising tide of confusion. Amongst the rubble of chaos, Alex struggled to grasp what had happened. His father, A figure he had thought lost to time and distance was right there, eyes flickering open with surprise and pain. "Alex," came the strained voice, filled with despair and regret, that tugged at the corners of Alex's heart. "I didn't want you to find out like this." Questions lit up within him, a storm of emotions battling for dominance: betrayal, anger, disbelief. His father had abandoned him, left him to navigate the world alone. Why? Why are you involved in this? But the answer lay smothered under the weight of the growing whispers, the crowd's judgment still hanging in the air, ready to consume them. Relationships shattered in a moment, secrets intertwined like threads of fate, all coursing through the heart of the plaza. And just like that, Alex realized the stakes had risen to on him. The truth of their lives, the shared histories, the hidden motives, the bonds forged in shadows, were all laid bare, rippling like waves in the night. Alex's heart raced as he turned to Emma, searching for understanding, but the fear in her eyes mirrored his own uncertainty. What lay ahead? What had the revelations truly awakened? As every breath hung heavy with trepidation, he steeled himself for the chaos that would follow. They were in this together now, caught in a web spun of lies. And one thing became painfully clear: nothing would ever be the same again. The scene exploded into chaos as Alex knelt by his father's side, grappling with the reality that had just unfolded. The plaza was a maelstrom of confusion, emotions surging like a wave crashing against the shore. The faces of the crowd melted into a blur of shock and anger. "Dad!" Alex's voice shook, filled with disbelief. "Why are you here?" His father, battered and bruised, looked up, eyes swirling with regret. "I never wanted to drag you into this mess. I thought you were safe." His words stumbled, each one a painful reminder of choices made long ago. Alex felt the tightness in his chest deepen. Safe? From what? This? From you? Claire stepped in, her voice cutting through the tension. "We need to act, Alex. Whatever that device is, it's connected to all of this. We have to destroy it before it's too late." But Emma, still shaken, looked to Alex with fear in her eyes. "What if this goes even further? What if we trigger something worse?" "Trust me," Claire urged, stepping forward. "We can't let the truth stay buried like this." And then an explosion of sound jolted them. The drone hummed to life, lights pulsing louder, brighter. The crowd recoiled, whispers thick with suspicion and panic. "Stay back," Emma shouted, her voice slicing through the murmur. They all turned to the glowing device, realizing the threat it posed wasn't just to them, but to everyone present. "Get help!" Alex yelled, to anyone who would listen, his heart racing as he rushed to his father's side. "Can you stand?" His father grimaced, struggling to push himself up. "I'll help. Just get rid of that thing." The air seemed electric, every breath heavy with tension. Claire and Emma exchanged glances before diving toward the glowing device, determination etched into their features. "Let's end this!" Claire shouted, focusing on a lever. "If we pull this, it should disrupt its activation." But just as they reached for it, a voice boomed from the depths of the crowd. "No, don't touch it!" All eyes turned to the mysterious figure, the hooded man now revealed as someone they hadn't expected. "You don't understand. It's more than just a device. It holds the secrets of everyone here." The crowd gasped, collective disbelief pulsing through them like a jolt of electricity. Alex looked at Emma, her eyes wide with realization. "Don't let him control this," she urged, fists clenched, emotions swirling. "We have to break free from this." Sharing a glance with his father, Alex nodded, determination filling the void of doubt. Together, with a burst of energy, they rushed toward the device as the plaza trembled, and in a moment that felt like an eternity, They pulled the lever, and a series of shocking explosions echoed. The pulse of the device faltered, flickering before it shattered into pieces. A wave of relief washed over the crowd as smoke billowed in clouds, consuming the threat. Cheers erupted, confusion morphing into shared triumph. But amid the celebration, Alex felt a deep sense of uncertainty. "What now?" he murmured, glancing around at the chaos. Emma returned his gaze, her expression softened. "We have a chance, Alex, to rebuild, to create something better." As they stood together, the sun broke through the dark clouds looming above. Hope flickered like a candle in the wind, fragile yet insistent. They had survived. They had fought for their truth. But in the shadows, Claire's gaze lingered on the horizon, eyes scanning for danger. "We must stay vigilant," she warned. "This is just the beginning." And Alex realized the roots of their struggles ran deeper than they'd ever imagined. But for now, they had each other. As the crowd began to disperse, conversations buzzing around them, he felt the flicker of hope ignite. "Stay close," he whispered to Emma. But the horizon held uncertainty. Though they had triumphed today, the battle for their future was still unfolding. And just as that thought settled, a familiar drone appeared in the sky, and dread washed over him anew. What was next? You must subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on the next exclusive stories coming your way. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. I want to see you flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this mind-blowing ending. And don't wait one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know how this ends. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel, so let's rally together.